Greetings everyone, this is Force Nature coming at you with your juicy update. As most of you would know, or hopefully have known by now, that EVO 2020, or more specifically EVO Online, has been cancelled due to one of their co-founders, MrWiz, ended up getting hit with some pretty disturbing sexual allegations. So basically he's gone and EVO Online is gone. And this leads into one of the questions that I'm going to be asking you guys. Do you guys think that EVO is gone? I mean, like, gone for good. EVO itself goes like pretty far back. I mean, as far back as even 2002, where the first official EVO tournament was held in Los Angeles. And even before then, it was even referred to as the Battle of the Bay, going back as far as 1996, where the co-founders, again, MrWiz, Joey Coiler, Tony Cannon, his brother Tom Cannon, and Seth Killian, a former member of the Street Fighter 4 team. With everything that's happened to EVO 2020 this year, I mean, like, EVO's taken a beating. Like, for instance, thanks to the pandemic, it was forced to have to move to online. And let me just say, every single main stage game basically is forced to have an exhibition. They can't even have a proper tournament because, I'll just say straight up, they have shit netcode that is completely unacceptable in 2020. And like, every single main stage game, I mean, all of them just have netcode that's completely unacceptable in this era if you're trying to be an esport. And let's see, the 4 games that end up do get in the tournament, let's see, Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath, Killer Instinct, Skullgirl's Second Encore, and Them Fighting Hurts. None of those were going to be on the main stage, but they all got added as a tournament because they have good netcode. They have GGPO rollback, which is basically what netcode you should be using, especially if you're like, well, if you're especially for like trying to be like a big esport or anything that you need good netcode. And basically, I find that that's one thing that has been kind of holding back fighting games in general. But I will give props to EVO for basically for giving those games a bit of a spotlight. But with EVO being canceled, that's kind of unfortunate. It was already kind of a bad look for EVO that none of the main stage games would end up getting a proper tournament. It would just be exhibitions due to the, again, unacceptable netcode. And I will put Japanese fighting game developers on blast. That shit is, again, it's completely unacceptable in like 2020. They just have to do better and have to have proper netcode. I mean, to be able to try and give the chance for the genre to kind of get some sort of like momentum or something, or be able to just kind of like feel like it's like kind of like moving forward. Because I just feel that the kind of dated delay-based netcode just doesn't really cut it in this era. So I just hope that fighting game developers can do better. But with regards to EVO, and now let's see, at the beginning of this month, these allegations against MrWiz end up happening, and then let's see what happened. All these sponsors and players and basically like commentators, associates, whatever, all basically pulling out, essentially forcing EVO to have to cancel itself because there'd be nothing to show. Like either Capcom, let's see, Capcom, Namco, other ones like even like Them Fighting Hurts, I think Main, other ones like NetherRealm Studios, like a bunch of them basically just pulled out and didn't really leave anything else. So again, that's another bad look for EVO. Another thing also to keep in mind is in this post-pandemic society, this post-pandemic world, the future of kind of large gatherings or anything like that, I mean, just to put things in perspective right now, EVO last year had well over 14,000 entrants for the 9 main games, which is absolutely crazy. I mean, that's just incredible numbers that ended up getting for the 9 main games. So, I mean, but with large gatherings, like, I don't know if more people, like, basically people might be, like, hesitant to come out to these until we're completely certain that, let's say, the coronavirus is 100%, like, eradicated from, like, I don't know, from, like, the world or something like that. So what I'm basically saying, though, is that, I mean, as you can guess in an event like EVO, people are in incredibly close proximity of each other. I mean, like, it's just a lot of people in, like, just a tremendous amount of people in one place. So, I mean, like, this is, even though I don't think it's, in the future, it may not be that big a deal, I mean, in itself, but it's still another thing to keep in mind is that there still might be people out there that may not want to necessarily get involved with really large gatherings, especially because this pandemic is just creating a bit of a habit of wanting to kind of mentally social distance. That last part's probably not going to be that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things because, I mean, once this pandemic's completely over, people are just going to go back to just get into big-ass gatherings anyway. But it is still something to think about. But really concerning EVO now, I mean, EVO did appoint one of the other co-founders, Tony Cannon, as the CEO. So I'm guessing they did that because EVO is planning to... Well, basically, EVO is definitely planning to probably come back in some capacity. But will it end up being the same type of tournament that we've known since for the next past, like, almost 20 years? And here's another major point to consider. Will sponsors want to work with EVO as enthusiastically as they did prior to the allegations? I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, as of right now, sponsors are probably wanting to distance themselves a bit from EVO, but let's say once all this kind of, like, bad PR ends up, like, blown over a bit and, like, things kind of relatively return to normal, I mean, like, EVO already has, like, Tony Cannon as CEO right now, and I know they're trying to do everything they can to just completely eliminate any sort of influence that MrWiz has in the company. Like, I mean, basically less than a day after the allegations, like, went public, I mean, the EVO committee chose to fire him and say he has nothing to do with the company. But you can't help but feel that the fact that they had someone that was with the company, basically with EVO since the start for over 20 years, and he has all these kind of like these kind of like dark, disturbing secrets behind him. I mean, I hope that no one else involved with the EVO committee or anything has any of these other kind of disturbing pasts, because like I said, the EVO brand definitely took considerable hit this year, but basically, the sponsors are obviously important because that's where most of the money comes in from. And last question for now. Where does EVO go from here in the future? I personally think that, again, I mean, yes, EVO does... I'll have to say that EVO needs to rebrand themselves a bit. I mean, I'll say right now, was it already a little embarrassing that all of your main stage games weren't able to have like a proper tournament due to their netcode? I mean... With regards to that, there's not really much EVO can do besides... I mean, I will, again, give them credit for trying to spotlight the 4 games that actually have good netcode and try and, like, promote games like that. I mean, again, Japanese developer, step your shit up, please. I mean, but... Yeah, I mean, like, EVO will need to rebrand themselves. And honestly, especially once the pandemic's over and everything, they should just try and... basically just try and put on a kick-ass event like they've basically always been doing every year. And... hopefully they can also try and promote as many games as they can. Anyways, let me know of your thoughts on like the future of EVO or anything related to that in the comments down below. On a different note, as someone may have noticed in the comment I ended up making on my channel, I've run into a bit of a snag with regards to what was supposed to be my next What's the Difference video, which was going to be between Soul Calibur 6 and Soul Calibur 5. I basically cannot seem to find any way to be able to record current Soul Calibur 5 footage, because it's basically there's no backwards compatibility with regards to that game, and my capture card doesn't really record PS3 footage that well. So when I end up finding a solution to that, then I will continue with that project, but unfortunately it has to be put on hold for now. Also, an advanced guide for a certain Snake Queen is in the works if any of you are wondering, so be sure to look out for that. If you like this video, smash that like button. If you didn't like this video, just hit the like button anyway, and don't forget to subscribe for more juicy fighting game content. And also, if you'd like to support the channel, feel free to join Top Tier Fighters. The support does help, and I do appreciate it. Anyways, this is Force Nature signing off. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one.